Is kale socially accepted or merely tolerated? I live in a small town and I kind of feel like an idiot buying kale. This is northern Nova Scotia after all. Shopping carts are for black rum and lobsters, not kale and kimchi. Remember when you were a kid and you'd be playing in the grass and maybe popping the tops off dandelions? Then later you stick your fingers in your mouth for some reason and you taste that nasty bitter grass oil? That's kinda what kale tastes like, but with more of a zing to it. Best way to avoid limp kale is to give it a good soaking for an hour before you use it. Just don't forget about it in the fridge for a day or two. It'll start to smell like a dairy fart. Since I have some time to kill, I might as well go take some pictures while they demolish the old Trenton Steel building. Lots of history here. Here's an old photo my grampy had of a couple good old boys from the old local 1231 outside the old main building, having an old picket. It's back in the day, so everything was old. There was a fire inside semi-recently, so they've decided to tear it down. It's strange to see something so iconic get dismantled over the course of a few weeks. That very building was the birthplace of molten steel in British North America. That building stood since the early 1870s until now, brought down by the same thing that birthed it and kept it alive all these years. Fire, that is. And I don't actually think that this building was built in 1872, but there was a building in that general vicinity where a fella named Graham Fraser and another fella named Forrest McKay poured the first liquid steel here in North America. I think. Anyways, since it's such a nice day out, let's head to Milmerby Beach, which is only a 10-minute drive from where they're tearing down that building, but it somehow had a completely different weather thing going on, which thankfully cleared up after only about a friggin' hour. I needed a 5-second shot of this beach for a video that I've been working on, and since I have an hour to kill, I shot all these cool time lapses of the morning fog dissipating and searched the beach for interesting artifacts, like this sleeping crab, this really great seashell I found that was 50% off, this clam that seems like it still might be alive somehow. Better get back to the water. And no trip to the beach would be complete without finding someone discarded empty lighter. Actually, it still works, so I'm guessing it fell out of someone's pocket. Hey, did anyone watching this lose a red lighter at the beach? Then I found this perfectly good tennis ball. That was great for killing time, but then I realized it probably belonged to one of the rich people who own cottages right over there, so I put it down and backed away slowly. Now that the fog is cleared, I got my shot, rinsed the sand off my feet, and headed to the village of Maitland, Nova Scotia. A few years ago, my good friend Graham and I went to see the Sadies at the Maitland Fire Hall. I figured they must be a good band, but I wasn't expecting them to rock my socks off quite as much as they did. So when I found out they were coming back to Maitland, the first thing I did was to reach out to Graham so we could relive that awesomeness. But this time at the High Tide Arts and Community Center, which is a 160-year-old church where they hold concerts and events. Pretty cool, huh? Turns out you'll find a lot of great things in Maitland, like this decorated rock, some great homemade pizza, breathtaking panoramic views like this one, awesome black kitties that remind me of Nero when he was still teeny tiny, a great locally owned cafe, not to mention the oldest general store in the country. Oh, and the yarn outlet. Can't space out on the yarn outlet. The Sadies were just as knockout as usual. They really brought the house down. Not all of it. Just a huge lampshade the size of a punch bowl. Of course, when it happened, I was only a few feet away, staring at the carpet. The only footage I managed to get was about 30 seconds later when people were still cleaning up the glass, and the band is right back to playing. Their dedication to music is inspiring, wouldn't you say? I hope so. And I hope you tune in again next time for the next ADD update.